Hello, everybody, and welcome to yet another dang season of Behind Enemy Lines, the football podcast where we don't root for the home team. I am joined right now, and typically as always, with two of my bestest friends in the world and lovely football fans. I have Jay, the New York Jets fan. How you doing?
Doing all right. Football
Lovely.
season is on the horizon.
We are very ready for it, and I'm very, very excited, my guy. And our cuckold Tampa Bay Bucks fan, Ryan Cox.
I got a little confused. I didn't know what kind of
He's
football
wearing his Arsenal jersey for you audio podcast listeners,
Oh,
because this man is unhinged.
I fucked up.
Yeah, but we back. I know last season got a little squirrely. That was mostly due to personal reasons. Your boy here had a rough fall with some personal injuries and other things that made it very difficult to get back on the horse. But this season, we are very, very ready to go, and we are happy to give you our hot takes, our other garbage, all the other things that you love with us. We might have formatting updates coming in the future that we'll get into probably a bit later. But for now, it's lovely to have you. It's lovely to see you. We want to give you a little bit of an off-season recap going into this year because we did our little draft reactions. Thank you for everybody who watched that. Everybody always is super optimistic about the draft. It's a building block for your team. Everything is super excited, and I hope if you did watch that, you did like it, and if you haven't, please check it out. But with that happening, the offseason has been very busy, as it always is, and I want to go over a few of the highlights and cliff notes with everybody here today. And because this is a quarterback-centric league, we have to have a quarterback-centric offseason recap. And for better or for worse, we got to start with the maybe overly touchy elephant in the room in Deshaun Watson. He was dealt this offseason from the Texans to the Browns for big money, and is also had a lot of suspension garbage, which we can get into. It was originally 6 games. There was an appeal. It's now 11 games. A lot of people think it should be more. I am in that camp before we get started with anything. I absolutely think it should very likely be more games. But there's a lot to go with that. It's the biggest quarterback offseason news and probably generally the biggest offseason news, just as we talk about what's happening with the league. Although there's a lot of other things we will get into later. But for you two both, I'm going to start with Jay just because he's there on my right. Jay, what do you think about all of this garbage? It's not something I super love to talk about, but if we're going to be an NFL news and distribution podcast, it's something we have to address. So, speak your truth, baby boy.
Yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, this is a tough one. It's not usually our jam, but obviously we can't not touch on it. So
We have to.
personally, I thought when the 6 games came out, I thought that was gross. My personal opinion, based off of what the what did they call her? The arbiter?
The arbitrator. I think it's
Arbitrator.
Somebody.
Thank you. Yes, I was close, but
No, it's okay.
So she was pretty renowned, and she's since been retired judge, and they hired her to because it wasn't a legal case in any way. It was just
Correct.
the NFL hired her to make an interpretation of what had transpired. And the issue with that whole thing, from what I have read, is that there was no precedent for what transpired with Deshaun.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that she gave the 6 games is because the only thing that's even close in NFL history has been Roethlisberger and Zeke Elliott.
Right.
So she mentioned in her disposition, or I don't know if that's exactly the right phrase because I'm not a fucking lawyer.
Right.
She mentioned in her notes or whatever you want to call it. People are going to probably grill me on that, but whatever.
Nah, man, nobody comes here for legalese. Just do your thing.
What she described it as. I'm actually going to pull up the exact quote if you don't mind.
Oh, absolutely. We love that kind of analysis here. That's what people come here for.
Where is it? I just had it. There it is. All right. So initially suspended 6 games on August 1st by Sue L. Robinson, the retired judge jointly appointed by the NFL and the NFL Players Association. So it was a joint agreement between both of those, which is usually how those things go.
Right.
She determined that Watson had violated the league's personal conduct policy by engaging in what she described as predatory and egregious conduct, which she indicated that the NFL's policies and past rulings inhibited her from meting out stricter punishment. So if you read into that a little bit, she wanted to have a longer suspension, but she was bound by the past NFL rulings.
Right.
So to me, when the 6 games came out, I wasn't shocked that Goodell came in and basically said, no, fuck that, and did his whole thing. And then the 11 game suspension came out. I was expecting at least a year. I think he should have got at least a year.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm happy it's not 6, I guess is what I'm saying. Based off of what I've been reading, and, it sounds like it's, it's what I'm not going to go too in depth because we're trying to keep it light here. But yeah, that's my opinion at least.
Yeah, absolutely. Cox, I'm going to let you go. I will say my piece after, and it might get a little heavier depending on what you say, but I feel like as the host, I can maybe say a little bit more.
No, that's fine. So my thing with it was I wasn't shocked. With 6 games, wasn't shocked. Um my problem my problem with Roger Goodell and this entire thing is him sitting there on this white knight horse, acting as though this is unacceptable. We have to get more games. We're appealing this. This isn't right. It needs to be longer. Okay. Where was that kind of attitude with all of these other suspensions that they've botched over the years and not gotten right and not given enough games? Because like Sue Robinson said, when it comes down to it, the NFL has set a precedent that personal conduct policy, violations, typically 6 games. 6 games is kind of what you expect for violating the personal conduct policy. I mean, you can go back to like you said, Ben Roethlisberger, violation of conduct policy. That was 6 games. There's just 6 games for Jermaine Cunningham in 2015 for violation of personal conduct policy. Rodney Austin in 2015, violation of personal conduct policy stemming from a guilty domestic violence charge, 6 games. There's just a whole list, Zeke Elliott. Again, there's a whole list where it's 6 games, 6 games, 6 games for things that we 100% knew happened and had actual criminal guilty verdicts read, and it was only 6 games. So for Roger Goodell to sit there and act as though this is egregious, no, you guys have been doing this for the last, I don't know, decade plus. So don't
longer than that.
yeah, don't. So my I have a huge problem with that. I mean, obviously, I have a problem with what transpired with the whole issue with Watson in general. Because I mean, I completely agree that it should be the entire year, if not more so. Then my second problem with this whole thing is you settled on 11 games.
Huh.
That's interesting. So you mean to tell me 11's an odd number. Typically, they're even number outcomes. There's a lot of 4, there's a lot of 6, there's a lot of 10,
8.
there's a lot of indefinites.
8, yeah.
8. 11's weird. Well, now let's look at the schedule and let's go see who their first game
It's
is.
so convenient, isn't it?
11. Yeah. Oh, it's very convenient how it's Houston. Oh, that's odd.
Yep.
So you mean to tell me that the first game he comes back is against his former team? So you really only wanted more games just to 1 for PR purposes, but then for 2, kind of, schedule it in such a way that it's beneficial to you and makes you more money. Oh. Yeah, no, fuck you. That's kind of a douchey. That's douchey. You don't actually care. You don't care.
No.
At all. The NFL has never cared.
Yeah.
It's all about money.
This goes
PR.
Money
and PR.
Money.
This goes to a bigger issue that I'm going to touch on when it's my turn.
Go for it. No, go for it. That's been my whole thing. I've from start to finish ever since we've just been sitting here waiting for what the rulings are going to be or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just been, well, I've already come to the conclusion that what Deshaun Watson did was despicable, and he's an awful human being for doing these things, and hopefully he can kind of become a better person. But I mean, hell, just the way the NFL continues to just botch and try and just gain PR while also making money, and just like, everyone sees through this. Everyone sees through you. So I don't understand why you have yet to like change in any way. You try to like come out and say like, oh, but we're doing better. No, you're not. You're just doing the same shit, just in
Objectively,
different wrapping paper. That's it.
All right.
I'll just say one more thing before DC starts. Sorry, Dave, I didn't mean to
No,
cut
you're
you
good.
off, but Cox, I just wanted to you say that you make a great point about the 11 game suspension. That is very convenient, and it is a very weird number.
It's just,
yeah.
As soon as I saw 11, I'm like, why 11?
Yeah.
When you check the schedule, it takes a Google to figure out why they did it.
Yeah, it was just boom.
Which is gross. All right, everybody, keep your arms and legs inside the ride at all times. Pull over your shoulder straps, because here we go. I'm gonna expand on and also pontificate about why this whole thing is complete fucking garbage. Again, you made a great baseline about 6 game suspensions for violating conduct policies. All those people you mentioned, but even if we even talk about this year, people who are out this year for a certain amount of times, DeAndre Hopkins has 6 games for a 0.01% popping of a foreign substance in his piss test. That is, again, what is that? Just over half the games that Deshaun Watson gets for his infractions. And on the other side of that completely is Calvin Ridley, at least for the season, if not more, because those two people, and here's the key difference. Here's what fucks me up about this whole process is because those two people, this is the key difference between what Deshaun Watson did and what DeAndre Hopkins and Calvin Ridley did, is they fucked with the integrity of the game. The NFL gives more of a shit about the integrity of the game than they do about these human beings that Deshaun Watson potentially violated. I will say I am still a proponent of innocent until proven guilty.
Right.
But when you have a fucking entire football team worth of people, almost a 53-man roster in and of itself, come out against you, it's pretty staggering.
Yeah.
And again, if nothing happened, DeAndre Hopkins and Deshaun Watson would have an equal suspension for this year. And I don't think anybody, whether you're in the PA, NFL PA, you're in the Owners Association, whoever you are, if you're a fan like us, nobody would say that that was just in any way, shape, or form for those two people to have an even suspension. In any way. It's so difficult because I do want to trust the legal process in the sense that everybody is innocent until proven guilty in that sense. But if you don't think that PR is conduct detrimental to the league to a bigger scope than what we've seen with these other people, like, what the fuck are you even doing?
Look, and real quick.
Go. Like,
I would take it a step further.
Yeah.
And all of this, personal conduct policy, if I'm not mistaken, also applies to front office. It also applies to owners. It also, like, everyone has their own, set of conduct policies.
I have a point to make, but I'll let you go first because you just reminded me of something. Yeah. And I think we're probably on the same wavelength.
Because, hell, you could just sit here and go, okay, well, if, DeAndre Hopkins and Calvin Ridley are getting these, well, then why isn't Snyder getting anything?
That's you got to where I was going.
Why does Snyder still own a team? Why is that allowed to happen? How has he not harmed the integrity of the game, the integrity of the shield, or any sort of conduct, detrimental to the league?
Isn't he hiding on his yacht in like the middle of the Atlantic right now?
Something like that, yeah.
Something, yeah. It's just, how is that allowed to go on? How is that all just pretty much swept?
Yeah, it's the almighty dollar, my guy.
It's also because Roger Goodell doesn't work for the players. Roger Goodell works for the owners.
I'm going to give
So
us a
the
2-minute here.
Yeah, the owners, kind of run all of that's they get special treatment, even though
Yeah.
they really shouldn't. They should be held to a higher standard. Owners in front office should be held to a higher standard than players. That's not the way this
But there's
works.
more leeway.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll make one
When
last point.
No, go for it.
Nobody needs 66 different masseuses. That's an issue.
That's too many. That is too
A
many
lot.
masseuses. But again, the salient point about the difference between players and ownership, I think, was very important. When you talked about that,
Stocks makes a great point.
I was also considering that when he started talking about it. It's like the league will stand up for people when it doesn't hurt their bottom line. That's the other point I'm going to make before we wrap things up is Deshaun Watson is in the air quotes unfortunate circumstance where he didn't do quite enough to get away with what he did.
Yeah.
Like, he's got the heavy suspension because he was this guy with crazy upside and he hadn't quite met it yet. And like, I'm not going to compare any names because I don't wish that anybody in the NFL has ever done this shit. But if he was the leader in passing yards, passing touchdowns, if he was the former MVP, even this 11 games would not have happened. And I think we all know that. And I think therein lies the problem.
I will compare. There is no way in hell if Tom Brady had anything like this, there is no way Tom Brady would get that suspension at all. I just don't think he would.
No, I don't.
Unfortunately, you're probably right.
No, you're absolutely right, especially with him. But I didn't want to bring names into it to like put them through any sort of muck. That is the 2-minute warning.
Yeah.
If you have final thoughts, say them real quick. I would love to move on from this because I already feel icky.
Situation.
Yeah, I think I'd love to move on from this as well.
Yeah.
I feel icky. We all know how we feel.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for bearing with it. In slightly more positive quarterback news, the next biggest thing that happened, maybe even potentially the biggest thing, depending on your perspective on things, Russell Wilson went to the Broncos. And not only did he go to the Broncos, but he got a big old fucking extension. Very recently, the Broncos agreed to a 5-year, $245 million extension that includes $165 million guaranteed. That's added on to his current contract, which I think anchors him in Denver for the next 7 years. Again, barring trades or whatever, because I think he still has 2 years on his current contract. And then that 5-year extension comes into play. But he comes in, he goes to Denver. The regime of Carroll and Wilson in Seattle is over. I want to talk about what we think that the extension, the move to Denver, what that means for both teams in this context, both the Seahawks and the Broncos, probably more so the Broncos than anything here. But that's, again, one of the major offseason moves that we saw here. I'm going to go to Ryan first with respect because I went to you last time. Jay, let me know, what do you think Russell Wilson in that scary AFC West means for the league?
It means that the AFC West is even scarier. I mean, you looked at it last year and you had KC being KC. You had LA, the Chargers kind of, figuring it out with their young quarterback and Herbert. And then you have the, Vegas kind of having this really up and down year, but they were still dangerous. They were very dangerous. And then you had the Broncos, who really weren't. They were kind of the pushover of the division. Well, that's completely changed. That is gone. Like, there is not a bad team in this division now. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if the Raiders end up being the worst team in the division with like a 500 record. At all. Like, this division is the most compelling one to now watch, other than the NFC West.
I think even more so now. I think the movement of Russell has made the AFC West the one to watch.
Yeah, it's I mean, the NFC West is still
It's still hyper competitive, but
yeah, but
Yeah.
it's having lost Wilson, it's different. Um, but I can't, I can't not sit here and think, God, what's Jerry Jeudy gonna do this year? How's Cortland Sutton gonna, do with
Yeah.
this? Is KJ Hamler gonna like really be like a really good, reliable, kind of third option, or Tim Patrick? Like who's gonna come, be like that third guy? Because there's so much passing potential now.
I think Patrick is out for the year.
Yeah, he blew his knee out, so it's objectively not going to be Patrick.
Yeah.
Well, shit.
Yeah.
Well,
I love Tim Patrick too because he's a big motherfucker.
I'm a big fan of him. Yeah.
But you know what I mean? There's so much, there's so much added offense to that.
Yeah.
Team. You're like, who gets it? Who gets the extra touches? Who gets the extra reception?
And again, I'll let you keep your point going, but I will just say real quick that it's crazy how the movement of a quarterback suddenly makes a offense dynamic. And this is what happened with Russ.
Yep. The only thing I worry about with this is I wonder how much they're going to rely on him to pass, because he hasn't had to be, super, super pass heavy and that's because that's just Pete Carroll's system. Pete Carroll relies a lot on the run. So he's not, Russell Wilson doesn't had to throw, consistently 40, 40 to 45 attempts a game. So I'm a little wary of, how that's going to translate, because I wonder how much more they're going to rely on him to pass.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I mean, I'm just interested to see how it looks. The first few weeks, how does this look? How different is it? Is it, going to be a lot of what we saw him do in Seattle just to start and then kind of work into a different, system throughout the year? Like, I'm very interested just to see kind of the ins and outs and X's and O's of how that goes to start. But for Denver, it's kind of a win. It's a huge win. It's a huge steal. The back end of the contract might be a bit rough, just because it does lock him down till his age 40 season, and his cap number in those last few years is in the upper 50s. That might be a little rough, but at least this window, these few years, get what you can. Absolutely get what
100%.
you can. Win now.
Yeah. 100%. Jay, go off. You got this.
A couple of points. One, I feel like Cox was talking about him throwing a bunch all season. He's got Devontae Williams in the backfield, who looked like a fucking stud last year.
Good. Javonte looked good.
So I think if he develops as most people believe he will, he won't necessarily have to throw it as much as he did in Seattle. Second point I have is that his offensive line, while not like the best in the NFL, he's played with some pretty shitty O-lines and still produced pretty good numbers. The Denver offensive line is, again, not
pretty good,
but it's pretty decent. It's pretty decent. And the other thing is that he never really had like crazy weapons in Seattle, right? Like he had Metcalf for the last few years, which obviously he's a stud. But outside of Metcalf, like what did he really have? He had Lockett, but Lockett was, and people are going to probably roast me for this, Lockett to me is kind of a one-trick pony.
I think he's more made by Russ and his rainbow deep ball that he would fucking drop into him than he is like an objectively good receiver.
I'm very, very excited about Jerry Jeudy. Him coming out of college, he was one of the best receivers coming out in years and years. And I think he's just going to tap that potential. I really do. And Cortland Sutton has already showed that he belongs in the NFL, right? And last point is that everybody, I think a lot of people that are doubting Russ in Denver talk about last year. However, last year, and I had to look this up earlier just because I had to make sure, because I thought he looked okay last year before he got injured, obviously. But he had 25 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 64.8 completion percentage. As a Jets fan, I would fucking kill for that.
Yeah.
On a very, very bad roster.
Standard's different.
I know, but here's the thing. Here's what I'm saying, though, is like without Russ, the Seahawks are now one of the top the top teams to pick for the pick first next year in the draft, right?
Yeah, they might be a bottom 5 team.
Exactly. So I think Russ really gives them that dynamic offense that they've been looking for. I think it could be similar to when they got Peyton. Could be.
Yeah.
And that's a little bit of a hot take, but he's only 33. He's still producing at a decently high level. He's got the receivers. He's got the running game, potentially. And an okay to good offensive line. So I think it's a home run for if you're a Broncos fan, you must be over the moon right now.
Yeah.
So I guess that's my whole take on that. And also the Seahawks are probably going to suck ass this year.
Do you want to rebut that at all before I go, Coxie?
You can no. You can go.
See, no, I think it's insane in my brain because Pete Carroll came into Seattle and then Russ came in and they had that Super Bowl run and they were there a couple of years and it was insane. I will say right now, this current Broncos roster is better than any roster that Russ went to the Super Bowl with. You take Marshawn Lynch, he was the weapon in those two. I would take Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton as a duo over DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, especially at this point in their careers.
Well, DK is still pretty young.
Yeah, but the Denver guys are younger. I think they have a higher ceiling. They're more athletic. I think the tight end situation, especially currently, is better. And I'm not saying at all that Javonte Williams is Marshawn Lynch or anything, but I'll take Javonte Williams over anybody running currently in the Seahawks backfield, for days. I think in terms of total offensive unit around him, Russ has never had a better unit. And if he did what he did in Seattle with the weapons he had in Seattle, it comes down to if the fucking Broncos coach can coach Wilson to get these guys going. And I don't even know how relevant that is because Wilson has such a good feel for the game. With this talent around him, that offense is already full-blown lethal. I love a lot of the things that the Broncos do on defense, especially with Pat Surtain. I'm a DB nerd. All that other kind of stuff. I think they surprised a lot of people last year with the quarterback situation they had, which was how the French say dog shit. So I think they hugely upgraded. Le dog shit.
Le dog shit.
And I think
they not good.
They very not good. So I think they've upgraded in every scenario, which is also why they locked him down. This is it's fucked up with the way that they are in their division because this may be insane and you guys can yell at me if you don't agree, but I think this is the Broncos window. They're in win now mode. A lot of these guys are on their rookie/young guy contracts. Exploit this talent, use Russ to get you guys there. The big hurdle is they are in that division it's basically Assassin's Row. They might have 3 people come out of that division. They might have both wild cards come out of the AFC West.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised.
No, it wouldn't shock me at all.
At all. But I think the way they upgraded, and this is coming from a guy who had to deal with Russell Wilson for so many years in his own fucking division. I have nothing but respect for the guy. They got a lot better. And I am very high on the Broncos this year. I haven't looked at their schedule or anything, so I don't know record-wise or anything, but their offense is going to be fucking scary, and their defense is also sneakily nothing to sneeze at. So they might be the spoiler in that division, depending on how the schedule shakes out with the Chiefs and the Chargers and the Raiders. If any of those teams go into Denver snoozing, Denver's going to capitalize, and it's going to make a very fucking interesting division.
Yeah. Well, Nathaniel Hackett, also the new head coach, he was the offensive coordinator in Green Bay.
Yeah.
The last few years, and orchestrated the top offense in 2020.
Yeah.
Right. So, but he
ain't a scrub.
So here's my thing, and
2 minutes, boys.
this is what I was getting at with him throwing, because now I just crunched these numbers. Russell Wilson, over his career, so since 2012, he has on average thrown 30 attempts. That's his average per game, 30 attempts. Aaron Rodgers, the guy who was just working with this offensive coordinator.
Also back-to-back MVP, just for the people.
Right. I understand that. But
For the people.
in that same time frame since 2012, Aaron Rodgers has thrown on average 10 more attempts.
I believe that.
10 more attempts. Russell has not had to deal with that level of volume of passing. That's my concern.
I don't think he still will. I think Williams and Melvin Gordon are a good enough two-headed monster.
But Green Bay had Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon.
Yeah, that doesn't Green Bay's been pass heavy. Green Bay's been pass heavy since Clinton was in office. The end.
I understand that, but you can understand how, I'm saying, if this guy's going to bring a more pass happy offense to that team, can Russell handle that extra load?
I guess to be fair,
we've never fully seen a season of letting Russ cook. We've never seen a full season of that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he can't do it. I'm just interested.
We got 30 seconds.
That's my only thing.
I'll do one last point here, is the fact that I totally get what you're saying, Cox, based off of where he came from, but we haven't seen his offense yet, so I guess we'll see what happens, right?
My other point, my final point is Russ did those fucking rainbow teardrop balls into Seattle for years. The only funky wrinkle that I will put into that, and the reason why they might air it out more, they play half their games at elevation. Russ can get a lot more air into those fucking balls. It might be the Denver Air Show. I would not be surprised if it's the Denver Air Show.
You can trademark that right now.
Yeah. Mile High Air Show, baby.
Make the website and then make them sell it to you.
MileHighAirShow.com.
If it works, great. I'm not sitting here saying that no, it's not gonna work. I want it to work.
No, I get what you're saying.
It's gonna be really entertaining if it works.
No, the thing is you're totally right. That could happen, and I think what the benefit is they're at altitude. Yeah. And with the way, again, specifically the way he throws that deep ball, a lot of funky shit could happen. I think it's going to be
early in the season. I wouldn't be surprised if early in the season if we see him, go a little too far.
I think he might lead the league in touchdowns after 6 games and maybe fall off.
Okay.
I wouldn't be shocked. I'm not going to put any money on it, but in my head, Mile High Air Show could be a thing.
But will you put a shot on it?
No. Because if I'm going to put a shot on it, it's going to be Kyler Murray leading the league in every metric.
Oh no!
And then falling off at the end of the year.
Yeah, classic Cliff Kingsbury. Anyways, we're done with that. Final QB news we got here. Jimmy Garoppolo. Everything's real funky. They're going with Trey Lance, but he just signed this funky extension to come back as the backup. And it's he agreed to a new contract. There's it keeps him in San Fran this season, but he also has a no trade clause and a no cut clause or something funky. $6.5 million guaranteed. And it's addition to the $8.5 million and $500,000 per game roster bonus. And this is him just sitting there as a backup. He has a no trade. I think it's also, again, a no cut clause. I can't see that in what I'm looking for right now. But I just want to generally, this might be a more brief thing, but I think it's very compelling that the changing of the guard is happening over in San Fran. So what do you guys think about the Trey Lance, Jimmy G situation, what it means for the Niners? What do you think it means for Jimmy, all that other kind of shit? Let me know. I'll go with Jay because we just went to Ryan, so you can go first.
Yeah, I don't really know entirely what to think about the whole situation. It's a weird one, right? We all agree on that. It is a weird one.
Yeah.
Because Jimmy G is 33-14 career starter, so he's a winner. We know this, right? He he's not always as flashy as you would want him to be, but he can get it done. I think I have it up here. His completion percentage, and especially in a West Coast offense, that's like kind of the name of the game. Completion percentage.
Correct.
Career is 67.7, which is fucking good,
Yeah, it's
like
pretty
really good.
Yeah.
So I get why they're trying to go to the young gun. I think Shanahan wants to kind of open up the offense a little bit because Trey Lance has a cannon for an arm, and can run it. And I think they want to do some more, read option type deal stuff. But it was always weird to me that they were moving on. It was weird to me when they drafted Trey Lance, to be perfectly honest with you. And I was also surprised they didn't nobody bid on him. Like I didn't there must be something else going on because nobody bid on Garoppolo. I know the contract is pretty hefty, which I get. Like you'd have to trade assets and then.
Well, now they just cut it down, right? That's like he's in his last year, and they gave him a cut, and they reworked it.
Yeah.
I think.
So yeah, I think what's gonna happen is next year he's gonna be able to pick whatever fucking team he wants to play for. Essentially, am I wrong?
No, I think so.
Nope. Yep. He's a free agent.
But just looking at his statistics, throughout his career, it's never been. I mean, shit. It's very early Tom Brady-esque. It's very efficient, good, decent, not great numbers. Does not throw very many interceptions. He's the perfect West Coast offense quarterback.
Yes.
And Trey Lance does not strike me as such based off of his college tape, and just his intangibles are launching it and running it.
Yep.
So I get like I said, I get why they're going with the young gun. They might want to get some cap space saved up, get some more players in because Shanahan always wants to get more guys in to the room. But I guess I'll end it with I'm surprised he didn't get traded, and I'm kind of surprised he's still on the roster in general. And
Right.
If I had to guess right now, and I might do a shot take on this, Jimmy G starts at least 3 games this year for the 49ers.
Ooh, nasty.
Shocked. I wouldn't be shocked.
I might take you on that at the end, but I'd want to hear what Cox says first.
I think the 49ers are stupid. This just screams to me like the 49ers have no idea what the fuck they're doing.
Thank you.
At all. Like they just don't. They were, again, even just going back to the drafting of Lance was just like, why? Okay, all right, I guess. And then keeping, if you're gonna draft him, you better move Jimmy G pretty quick, because you're just gonna Jimmy G, you signed to this long-term, it was 2019, he signed a 5-year deal. Like you knew he was gonna be here for a while. So then you draft this young quarterback that you want to kind of move along in through the system. Okay, great. But you don't move Garoppolo. You just let him sit there and play. And this cloud is hanging over your head of well, what do we do? What do we do with him? But we have Trey Lance now. Do we accelerate Trey Lance or do we just let him sit? We don't know. And I think what this screams to me is we still like Trey Lance's intangibles. We love all of those, but we still don't know if he's actually cut out to be a starter. So let's have this really good backup that we knows our system and can step in and play anytime and is a veteran, but let's just keep him here just in case. So we'll give the kid his shot, just in case we've got this.
Yeah.
But it's but they're 2 completely different quarterbacks. They're 2 completely different systems. So, because you can't mean to tell me that Trey Lance is comfortable running Jimmy G's system, because there's no way he is. And you can't tell me that Jimmy G is comfortable running Trey Lance's playbooks. It's just, he can't throw that deep. As we all know, as we've watched Jimmy G fail to do, make a deep throw to win you a Super Bowl. So I don't
Yikes.
know. They're 2 completely different players. So so what are you doing? Typically your backup should be able to do a lot of the similar things that your starter can do, just probably at a lower level.
Yep.
But it's a similar offense. So if Trey Lance, if you don't like what Trey Lance is doing, he's not working. Are you telling me that you're going to say, well, scrap that offense? Let's go back to what we were running and bring everyone up to speed, especially all like anyone new or anything. You're going to bring everyone back up to speed on that.
Yep.
That sounds stupid. That's an awful way to go into the year planning wise.
No, it is.
What is happening here? I Jay, I would not be shocked if Jimmy Garoppolo ends up starting like a decent amount of games, because I still have a feeling that Trey Lance is not ready, because he's just still so young. He's so young.
He's so raw as a player.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So and then it just begs the question of, okay, well then after this, there's no way Jimmy's coming back. There's no way. If he signs another 1-year deal with them as a backup,
there's no shot.
and Jimmy then he's given up at that point.
Yeah.
But so then what's your plan for next year? What are you going to do?
So here's what it is. Here's the thing, and I'm going to tell you. I'm about to give you the lowdown. Well, so the 49ers are doing the ultimate hedging of their bets. They are hoping that Trey Lance is like Lamar Jackson or a Kyler Murray, and that he carries them into this new age offense that a lot of teams are running now. Your Lamars, your Kyler Murrays, even your Patrick Mahomes, your Josh Allen's mobile with a cannon, whatever. If he develops into that, they have no need for Jimmy G.
Right.
But they want him there to hedge the bets, which is why they gave him that lower contract. They were like, we want you here, but we don't want to pay you that much in case Trey Lance, from a Division I AA school, mind you, is a bust. Because they know they can make a Super Bowl, theoretically, with Jimmy G at the helm and the old guard. They are maximizing hedging their bets. They're gambling. They're like, we hope you are here, Trey Lance, but if you're not, they're doing the SpongeBob. They're breaking out old Reliable, and he's going to be right there for you. And if he happens to win them a Super Bowl, guess who's getting a $200 million contract? Not Trey Lance, Jimmy Garoppolo. Their ultimate.
Do you think Jimmy's betting on himself?
I think Jimmy's betting on himself. He's like, yeah, he goes, I can do this. If he fucks up, I got this. Because he knows, like, the fucked up thing, say whatever you want about Jimmy. He's consistent.
Right.
He's not going to lose you games.
No.
He's not banking on himself. He's banking on Trey Lance not being what people think he is.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he's seen more than most of us because he's next to him in all of these rooms. He's like, yeah, I'll take less because I don't think this fucking guy can do it. And if he can't fucking do it, who are they going to call? But it also helps the Niners because if A, he can do it, or B, one of these other 31 starters goes down in the NFL, guess who's calling the Niners? They get Jimmy G. That's the thing. That's what I'm saying. This is the ultimate hedge of bets from the 49ers organization.
I get what you're saying, but do you think I guess my question for you would be,
I would love to hear it.
Do you think that they've handled this correctly, like for over the last year or so?
I mean, objectively, no.
Yeah, okay. I just want to make sure.
But organizationally, no. Because what other organization have you been like, fuck it, I'm going to bet on this, but keep this on the side as like a just in case? Who the fuck does that?
I've never seen.
Since Green Bay when they had Favre and Rodgers?
Yeah.
That's maybe it. And that's if Trey Lance becomes Aaron Rodgers, which, hot take, he won't, because they're different players. Like, he might be good. I'm not saying Trey Lance won't be good. He's not going to be Aaron Rodgers. They're different players, different style. But the Niners are doing the Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers. Except instead of trading away Brett to get Aaron up, they're hedging their bets and they're keeping them both. Yeah. If the Niners go 0-3 with Trey, they're going to put Jimmy in.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
But also, if the Niners go 0-3 and let's say, I don't fucking know, somebody goes down on like a semi-good team, they're going to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yep.
Like, let's say, again, knock on wood, God forbid, any QB in the AFC West goes down in the first 4 games, they're trading for Jimmy Garoppolo to stay competitive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Question. that I just thought of. Who was the last great 1AA quarterback? I know that they don't use 1AA terminology anymore, but we grew up with that. So listeners,
FCS.
You're saying
fuck
like
off.
FCS?
Yeah, FC. What it's 1AA.
Carson
Kurt
Wentz, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
Kurt Warner,
yeah.
you and I.
Kurt Warner, right? Is that the last great one?
Kurt Warner, yeah, because
But
Warner,
he went undrafted.
I would consider Kurt Warner great. I would not consider Carson Wentz to be great.
Right. I'm just
That's what
saying.
like who is like, when you take a quarterback, well, they took him at 3, right?
Yeah.
Who is the last great quarterback that played for a 1AA school? It's Kurt, right?
Probably Kurt. Was Romo from a funky school?
I think he was technically FBS.
I don't remember. I thought he was maybe from a weird.
Romo was from Eastern Illinois.
That was
So that's FCS level.
Yeah. Okay.
Kurt Warner was from Northern Iowa.
Yeah, you and I.
Phil Simms was from Morehead State.
Point made.
Ryan,
either way, point made. Like,
yeah, Ryan
I get it. Harvard. Fitz is Harvard.
Yeah. I don't know. I just was curious because it doesn't seem like. Well, actually, Flacco. What about Flacco?
Yeah, it said Flacco. How about this one, Steve McNair?
Okay, all right, fair.
We like Steve. R.I.P. buddy. We're gonna wrap that up. We're a little over probably what we should be there. But yeah, my final point with that is I think they're doing the ultimate hedge of bets. I think they're banking on a QB going down to ship Jimmy for the cheap.
Okay.
But again, if Trey Lance sucks, they can always plug him in and go old reliable. It's the ultimate hedging of bets. And I think
both sides, I think on the Niners side and on Jimmy G's side, I think they have a almost like an unspoken deal where like, hey,
yo, if he fucking sucks,
I'll come in and win you some games.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is. I truly feel. All right, we're going to go to our own team's analysis of our offseason. This should be pretty quick. For reference, we're at about 47 minutes or so, so let's
oh shit. All right.
Maybe try to go here. I think I'm going to go with I believe the team who finished the best out of all of us, which is you and your fucking stupid Buccaneers. So let me know how Tom Brady's run on the Masked Singer's been or whatever. He's been gone. Yeah. Give us a Cliff Notes of the offseason, what you think's going to happen, how you feel.
Okay, Cliff Notes of the offseason. Added decent wide receiver talent, with getting, Russell Gage, and then, the surprise of, adding Julio Jones as that fun little red zone threat. Giving Leonard Fournette lots of money. And paying him to be, the number one guy.
Bad idea.
No, I like it because he's been a bulldozer and I love him. But then, so, it's been pretty positive going into preseason. Then it was Ryan Jensen goes down. Then it was, in the last preseason game, Robert Hainsley is now questionable. Nick Leverett is questionable. Just the offensive line, Tristan Wirfs, has, had his oblique, and people are, Wirfs will play week 1, Hainsley will play, week 1. My issue is the offensive line, especially without Jensen now, with him being on offensive or on injured reserve. Everyone's talking about it. Is the offensive line going to be able to protect Brady? Because that's the big thing. He has to be protected. If you don't, if he gets split, especially up the middle, if he gets blitzed up the middle, that's it. He's done. He can't operate. So that's pretty much going to be how our season goes, is just whether or not the offensive line can, one, stay healthy and cope with the loss of Jensen and take it from there. If they can hold together and give him the 3 seconds that Brady needs, this is an 11-12 win team. Just easy. I would chalk it up. As they're a playoff bound, and they'd be a favorite to be in the NFC title game. That's just how they are. There's their offense is so built, and the defense is a lot of the same cast coming back.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be the same old Bucks as long as the offensive line holds. they will still be a dominant force. I would still expect there to be games where they're like kind of shit and don't look right, but they've had those the last few years and still done all right throughout the year. So still positive going into it, but I'm just concerned about the offensive line.
A rebuttal before we get into anything, if you wanted to talk about the Bucks at all, Jay, or whatever, is I want to ask you, since I think it's the first time we've really been able to get into it, is how do you feel about Todd Bowles at the helm?
Yeah. I'm fine with it. I'm glad he's getting a second chance.
I am too, as a Jets fan, honestly.
Yeah.
As a Cards fan, he was our DC before he went to the Jets. So we all have Todd Bowles connections. I think deep down, we're all low-key rooting for Todd Bowles, but I wanted to hear your thoughts.
I am for sure. Seems like such a genuine
good guy.
Yeah. My only concern is that I would have preferred Leftwich get it, just because I think that keeps Leftwich in the organization for longer. And for long term, I'd rather have Leftwich in the organization than Bowles.
Is Leftwich your OC?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's good enough for now.
Yeah, I know. I think Leftwich is head coach material, 100%. And I don't want him going elsewhere. I want him in the organization long term.
Ask Jay. I've been a Leftwich stan since 2002, baby.
Yeah,
we both have. I love Leftwich, dude.
Yeah, I don't know, his offense. Like just watching it is like it works. I can see why other people covet him. I don't want him going elsewhere, and I fear that when Brady leaves, he'll leave.
That's fair.
When Brady's done, I think Leftwich will probably go.
I'm going to say before Jay says anything that I agree with your analysis, because I feel like you know more than me, and on the surface, it seems like your assessment's pretty fair. I don't think there's any hot takes I have on the team, other than I personally don't super love Leonard Fournette, unless, again, playoff Lenny's a whole different animal. But
he is a different animal.
But I don't know. I don't know if I love him as an RB1 given his history, but with what you guys have going on, I don't think it's horrific by any means. And I think you guys will obviously be to the typical high standard you've been at the last couple of years. That's what I have to say about that. I don't know if you have anything else to add, at least in terms of the Bucks, Jay.
Yeah, in terms of the Bucks, I think I'm actually going to agree with Cox on his critique. I think the only issue is interior offensive line, because when Brady gets shook, it's typically pressure on the interior.
And when that happens, he does fold pretty bad.
Yeah, exactly. Fast. He's very good at stepping into the pocket when, outside defenders come in. It's when interior pressure gets in that he folds, which, I mean, every quarterback does that. He's the greatest that's ever done it. But
he doesn't have the legs to get out of it is the problem.
Exactly. So that could potentially pose an issue. But other than that, I think the team is pretty stacked top to bottom.
Yeah. Lovely. Jay, talk about your Jets. I personally, before we get into it, as a take, I think they are very much improved, and I'd love to hear what you think on it and go into the details.
Biased opinion, the most improved team in the AFC East.
It's close.
Started from the bottom, now we're here.
I would definitely agree.
So I guess I got 3 points, I guess. I don't want to take two. I could talk for like an hour.
Yeah, of course we all could.
But let's start with the draft class. And I'll just start with the first and second round, right? So you get Sauce Gardner.
Sauce! I love Sauce.
Didn't allow touchdowns entire collegiate career. Looked, from everything I've read and heard, looked incredible. Had 0 targets all preseason, over, I think, 24 targets in the preseason. Or 24
0 catches snaps. Over
had zero passes go his way. And then
he pulled a David Taylor, wild.
And then, yeah, he did. And then you get Garrett Wilson, who even before he was drafted by the Jets, both of you know I was very high on, because he's like a Calvin Ridley clone, great route runner, has very good control of his body. I think he's gonna be good. He's been making crazy catches all throughout camp from again, everything I've read. I've seen the highlights, but highlights are highlights.
Yeah, especially in the preseason.
And then the surprise of the draft, in my eyes, they trade up and get Jermaine Johnson, who was also very, very high.
Yeah.
11.5 sacks for Florida State last year. Supposedly very, very good in the run game too. He's long, he's big. He has those lanky arms that can get around defenders and make a tackle there. And then another surprise, not as surprising as Jermaine, but Breece Hall, the best running back in the draft, broke all kinds of records at Iowa State. I'm very, very high on Breece Hall, as DT knows.
Sure are.
I took him with my first
round. Yeah.
But basically third round pick.
First round pick in a 2-keeper league.
Yeah, well, 2-keeper league. I almost said 3. But yeah, so third round, 2-keeper league. But yeah, no, really high on that. But I guess the thing that really excites me is the offensive line. That's my third point, is the offensive line really excites me because I know they lost Becton, but then they go outside DeJuan Brown, who made the Pro Bowl last year. They have George Fant, who had, I think, a top 5.
He crazy overperformed.
Yeah, he was top 5, I think, in pressures allowed in PFF.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, you fucking hate PFF.
But he was top. I think it was top 5 or 6 last year. Starting at left tackle, they moved him to right tackle. DeJuan Brown starting left tackle. And then, you sign. So they signed 2 Pro Bowlers. So you got DeJuan Brown and Laken Tomlinson. So 2 Pro Bowlers from last year.
Yeah.
So I think protecting the quarterback is definitely A1. We haven't had a good offensive line since the last time we made the playoffs. Not saying we're going to make the playoffs or anything, but there's a lot to be excited about at Florham Park right now, in my opinion. Receivers are solid as hell. We got a good running back core. You got Michael Carter in his second year, should be great because I think he had top 3 or 4 missed tackles in the NFL last year. And then you add Breece Hall.
I need a bow from you.
I'm excited. Sorry. It was a big offseason, man.
No, it was. No, I just if we want to keep on our time.
Go ahead.
Coxie.
No, I mean, I would agree that they're the most improved team in the AFC East. I look forward to seeing them maybe play 500 ball this year. I think, they're totally capable of it, and they're totally capable of even being, challenging for the second best, team in that division. It's a lot barring on, how real Tua is in Miami, but the Jets have made huge strides, and it's refreshing to see them make these kind of positive strides in the organization. So I'm hoping nothing but the best for them this year, 100%.
Are you going to tell them about your new leaf? You're a Jets apologist this year. Are you telling the people? Are you going to tell the people that you're actively rooting for the Jets this year instead of being a Patriots turncoat? You fuck.
They deserve something, and they've just been so bad for so long.
Mm-hmm.
I can't stand to see Jason cry anymore. It hurts me too much.
Yeah. Is that all you got to say?
Pretty much, yeah.
I'm going to keep it fairly brief, too. Well, I don't think they're going to be the division powerhouse this year. I think they do have a claim to being the most improved team in the AFC East this offseason. I think it's close with Miami. Coin flip. I would say based off name recognition, I'd give it to Miami. But based off of upside, I would give it to you guys. You guys are definitely built for the future. And I can't say that very much about any other team really in that division. I guess maybe the Bills with Josh Allen, but even the guys that Miami signed are the now guys. Your Tyreek Hills, your Chase Edmonds. They're in win now mode, I think, a lot, especially with a lot of their defense being on those low contracts. They have a very good defense that's all very cheap. Eventually, they're going to have to pay those guys. I think they make a run at probably 2 in that division. But I think if the Jets play up to their potential, they could be the second or third best team in that division. I think this whole division is absolutely the Patriots to live in the basement with. I don't love their roster. I don't want to dunk on the Patriots. I know that's what we do here. But I don't think that they will be doing well. But I love what you guys did. I love Sauce Gardner. Of course I do. His name's Sauce. And he's a corner with the swagger. He's literally speaking my entire fucking language. I love, again, the talent you got in the first round with Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall as well. I think Zach Wilson, if his line holds up like we think it will because they've invested in it, he could probably take a leap. You know what I mean? There's a lot of positive things, especially on the offensive side of the ball there, that I love. I know you like Johnson. The other safety you got's also like a crazy run support guy that you got in the offseason. So I think
I
you
was
guys
gonna mention that, but then
Yeah. I think he's a crazy run support guy as well. And if Mosley plays the way we know CJ Mosley could, again, your interior linemen as well, both Quinnen Williams and John Franklin Myers are very good at like stuffing some shit. I think you guys could make a lot of surprising waves in that division. Again, maybe second best, and depending on how much the fucking AFC West devours each other, I think like the crazy upside is like a wild card spot, depending on how things fall. But that's if you guys all like fully, everybody plays to A+ potential, and you guys end up being this fucking insane team. But I'm very optimistic. Yeah, their schedule's tough. But I
the first half and the second half's pretty easy.
Yeah. But I'm very optimistic as well about the Jets, as I typically am. I think you guys improved in basically every conceivable way, and I'm hoping the best for you. Love that. Let's go to the Arizona Cardinals. Major loss. Chandler Jones went to Vegas. We wish you the best in your future endeavors. I love you, Chandler Jones. I will always love you. Your jersey's still over there. Maybe I wear it at some point. Nothing but love. In terms of acquisitions, we got Hollywood Brown, baby. Also pretty cool draft day trade. The Cliff Notes version of what I'm going to get is I think we improved a lot on offense with what we did. I'm going to just give you, again, general depth chart stuff. When he's off his suspension, our wide receiver core in order looks something like DeAndre Hopkins, Hollywood Brown, AJ Green, Rondell Moore, Andy Isabella, Greg Dortch. We're 6 deep at least in that aspect. We have James Conner and Damian Williams and Eno Benjamin at running back. I think that's pretty good, especially nothing to sneeze at there. Our tight ends are Zach Ertz and Trey McBride coming out of the draft. Very, very tasty. I really, really like that for us a lot, especially with the way we might run 2 tight ends. That's the thing, is when you have somebody like Ertz and McBride, you can run 2 tight ends, and it could still theoretically be like passing down. In terms of that, I think our offense isn't like, or our offensive line isn't crazy much improved, but Hudson's back. We love Rodney Hudson a lot in terms of being our anchor at the center. DJ Humphries at left tackle. He is not disappointed. I mean, he hasn't absolutely killed it, but he has not been, a disappointment. I think he's a solid anchor at left tackle. Justin Pugh. I hate Justin Pugh. I still don't love him, but in terms of like, again, a good, reliable guy, as long as he doesn't hold in the end zone, I'm fine with that. Kelvin Beachum at right tackle. I think he's one of the most solid right tackles you could have, possibly. And then we have Wilner Hernandez at right guard. He's our heaviest lineman, and he's playing a position where he has to move a lot. I think he's our biggest question mark. But offensively, I love what we're doing. Kyler Murray, obviously, I think he continues to improve because he has not, dropped off at all. Zaven Collins is going to get reps at our inside linebacker finally. It's going to be Collins, Simmons, Golden at linebacker finally, all playing as a unit. I love Buda Baker, of course. We just traded for one of the Raiders corners, so it's going to be Byron Murphy and probably, I can't remember his name, Ty something at corner. I think we'll probably have a middle-of-the-road defense, if not like maybe top 12, but probably top 15. So if our offense is dynamic as we think it's going to be, and especially if we can weather the storm, our first 4 games are very, very hard, and we don't have Hopkins for that. So I'm hoping for the reverse Kingsbury, where we kind of shit the bed at the beginning of the season, and then we're good. I think it all comes down to Cliff and the coaching and the culture at the end of the day, because we've shown we have the talent. I've talked to you guys for the last 2 years on the podcast about how I'm unsure of the leadership of Cliff Kingsbury. This is the year. Show me it or don't. That's where I'm at with everything. Sorry, I even went on a little bit more of a diatribe than I normally would like to there.
It's all good.
Y'all can go. Yeah, but y'all can go, but I normally cut you guys off.
Yeah.
Cox, you can go first.
Yeah, all I'll say is I don't give a shit what you've added. You need to show me that when push comes to shove, that you can fucking perform. Because all I've seen, like you said, is this team can run all over you in the early part of the year, but when it comes to, December, they are nowhere to be found. Like that team just doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing I care to see this year with the Cardinals is fucking show me. That's it. Because like the talent is clearly
This is the
there.
show me year. This is it.
It
This is
has
the
to
show
be.
me year.
Yep. So that's it.
If Cliff
That's all I'm saying
doesn't,
to
if Cliff
Cardinals.
doesn't make the playoffs, I think you get rid of him. That's
Just
where I'm at.
I agree.
show me.
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say. That's it.
Am I up?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So Trey McBride was one of my absolute crushes in the. I love. He's gonna be so fucking good. I'm like, I was really glad he went to a team I don't hate because he's gonna be. I think he's gonna be a stud. He was phenomenal at Colorado State. Also love Simmons. I thought that was a great pick. I think he's gonna start coming into his own now. He's in his natural position finally. Don't like Hernandez.
Yeah, he's pretty bad.
And I'm also not sold at all on James Conner.
He had a good year last year.
He was solid, yeah. I just not like completely sold on him,
No, that's fair.
Especially behind, like, your offensive line is leaky.
Yeah.
And the inside at least.
That's fair.
Beacham, I mean, he played for the Jets like 5 years ago, and he was getting older then. So, like you said, he's reliable, but it just like I'm thinking, once you get up there as a right tackle, like stuff starts to crack, as all three of us know.
Yeah.
I love the offense on the whole, love the offense. I think the defense could be sneaky as far as turnovers are concerned, especially if Simmons is, like I said, I'm very high on Simmons, and I think he can do what he did back in the day, at Clemson.
100%.
But I think I'll agree with you, Encock. I think it's a show me year for sure. Absolutely. I think Cliff needs to show that this offense can work at the NFL level.
Yeah.
Finally.
Because we haven't seen it.
So the X factor really is going to be Kyler.
Yeah. Kyler / Cliff in his scheme.
Yeah.
I think for sure.
Much.
Yeah. Question, before we move on, I have one question for you, D.
Yeah.
If this year, I hope it doesn't, but if hypothetically this year completely falls apart, do you think they get rid of Cliff and Kyler?
They just extended Kyler. They wouldn't. That contract.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's the second highest paid quarterback in the NFL.
That's right.
They aren't
I'm a dumbass.
No, there's no way. No, you're fine. I think you absolutely get rid of Cliff. And I would.
Yeah, that was my question, though.
I would love to see I
think the reason I opposed it is because they're tied at the hip.
Here's my funky like Marvel what if. You get rid of Cliff, you bring in for the first time as a head coach Eric Bieniemy.
Yeah. Same exact thing. Yeah.
I think that's my funky Spider-Verse. Anyways, we spent far too much time on this. Boys, time for off-season bold predictions, baby. We got a couple. I hope you can kind of rifle through them because we're a little over an hour. We're at an hour and 8, so we can maybe do this pretty quick and get everybody boogieing. I want to know from both of you, and I will also contribute myself as I always do, and we can maybe talk about it a little bit. Who is poised for a breakout or a comeback season? This can be a player or a team, or I guess you want to get super meta like a coach. I don't know what the fuck you guys are thinking. We haven't discussed this beforehand. That's the fun. I don't know who wants to start. I don't know if one of you guys has something on record and ready to go. All right, Coxie, you go.
I will start. I think I'm going to give my rookie of the year candidate right now.
Damn.
Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett wins rookie of the year right now.
Okay.
He just fits. He fits Pittsburgh, and it just seems to be working from everything I've seen, or not so much seen, but heard and read. in the preseason, Kenny Pickett looks good. Kenny Pickett fits with, fits them, six, big 6'3", 220, big, bigger frame kind of guy,
Yep.
has the legs, can run it, kind of almost like he's not going to be the same bulldozer that Big Ben was in his heyday. But if he needs to move, he can move, and he can throw it pretty good too. And with the wide receivers they have, all of that speed and having the reliability of having Najee Harris that you could just be like, here you go. Like that offense is going to click. I don't know. It might not be, in the first 4 games or whatever, but sooner or later that offense is going to start chugging. It's just going to start chugging along.
Yeah.
And I still, and again, as we've seen with Pittsburgh and what Mike Tomlin does, they just win football games.
Yeah.
They just have a habit of doing that.
Yep.
So I would not be surprised if Pickett goes, and everyone loves quarterbacks, especially for awards. He wins Rookie of the Year right now. I'm calling it now.
Word.
He wins Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I wouldn't shock me, honestly. If he starts most or all of the season, I think he absolutely could do it. Yeah.
Yep.
I disagree, as I think it won't happen, but I don't think it's a far-fetched thing.
Yeah.
Jay, what's yours?
For breakout player of the year?
Breakout player, comeback, who's going to have a breakout or a comeback? Player, team, whatever.
All right, well, I'll go breakout. I'm going to go with Jerry Jeudy.
Oh, yeah, he's probably going to fucking feast.
I think he finally has a good quarterback, obviously.
Yep.
And when he was coming out of college, he was the best route runner that most scouts had ever seen. And I think that fits so well for the way that Russell Wilson plays his game, right?
Yeah.
And he's unless he's what, is his third year?
Jeudy, so, yeah, third. I think.
Yeah, third year. So he finally has a quarterback that can deliver the ball consistently. I think he'll be able to finally show why he was drafted as high as he was.
Yep.
I think that's totally fair. Comeback, I think, is a little I don't know if it's controversial or not, but the way that I've seen things go in the offseason for him and the way he's working out, I think comeback or not I think he'll stay at the levels he's at as Derrick Henry. I think based off what I've seen with his workouts and how his recovery is going, he's still a fucking man. He's gonna fucking eat up carries and still be a dog there. I think he's probably, if I had to pick a comeback player of the year, probably him. In terms of breakout, again, sticking with running backs, I do think it's Javonte Williams to win. If they keep even some sort of balance, because whether they go Russell Wilson-esque, Russell Wilson still had very productive running backs when they weren't people who were as talented as I feel Javonte Williams is. Your Chris Carsons, your Rashad Pennies, your whoever else you can even think of have had productive sessions with Russell Wilson as the QB. I think Javonte Williams is more talented than most of those people.
I agree.
So I think he is very poised to break out. I don't think, I wouldn't put him as an OPOY or anything like that, but in terms of somebody that at the end of next year, you're going to be like, yo, that fucking guy. My other honorable mention for, I guess, comeback would be a J.K. Dobbins. Blew his knee out. The Ravens like to run a lot. I think if he's anything like he was and returns to form, that's going to be a very, very big deal for the Ravens. So just a little shout out to J.K. Dobbins as well in that aspect. I went very running back heavy, but it is what it is. Who won't live up to expectations, players or teams wise? Who do you think, especially in the off seasons, we always have it a couple years ago was the Browns. Remember when the Browns were supposed to be 11-12 win team when they got Jarvis Landry and Odell and Baker was there and all this other shit. Whether it's a team or a player or whatever, how do you guys feel who's going to fall short? I'll go with Jay first because Ryan was so nice as to take the initiative last time.
I'm going to go with the Cowboys. Simply because their offensive line is not anywhere near what it was 4 years ago.
It is absolutely not what it used to be.
And they lost Smith, and they're struggling to find their new tackle there.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and with Dak's injury history, I think he might have a little bit of the yips when it comes to that.
Yeah.
When people are coming screaming at him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And also, Zeke can't really get it. Last year he couldn't get it going at all, right?
No.
And then you lose your best starter, and I just like it just comes down to offensive line with them. I think
Mm-hmm.
everybody has not necessarily Super Bowl expectations for them, but at least playoff expectations for them, right?
Yep.
And I think they're going to fall short of that, maybe by a lot. Honestly, I just don't see how they can get out of the NFC East.
Yep.
Fair.
Coxie, I fully agree, by the way. I'm not even going to expound on it because I think you're dead on.
Yeah, no, I think you're good with that. I'm going to, I have like a few different ones I can go.
I do too, so I'm hoping you don't. I mean,
But I'm gonna kind of, circle it back to something we talked about earlier. And Trey Lance, I don't think Trey Lance is anywhere near what he needs to be an NFL quarterback right now. And I don't think starting him is going to work
Mhm.
at all. And I think clearly San Francisco knows that. And probably, again, that's, as we've talked about, that's why they've kept Jimmy G around as the most competent backup option, um, probably in the NFL. So I have a feeling that Trey Lance is maybe not going to suck, but he's going to be disappointing and just he's still going to look so raw
Yep.
out on that field. So that's probably my pick.
Yep. I'm going to pick a one that I'm going to turn into a two.
Okay.
I'm going to say the AFC East.
Okay.
Double-headed monster in terms of the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins. Everybody has the Buffalo Bills going to the Super Bowl for the AFC. I don't think they will because there's a natural regression in the sense of they overachieved last year. I don't necessarily think they got better in the offseason, and there's going to be more film on them. While they probably still win that division, I think people have them winning like 14 games. I don't see it. I don't think that's going to happen because I think the level of competition in the AFC East is so improved, save for the Patriots, but that's a whole other can of beans that I want to get into. And I'm also I'm gonna lump in, the reason I'm doing this as a lump is I think they will underperform to the expectations because they give me that Browns energy from a couple of years ago in terms of everybody gonna think they're gonna be a killer. I think they still could be great, and they might even still be a playoff team. But I think me telling everybody they're a playoff team is lower than 80% of people have them. And so I think that is why I'm lumping them in. But the crux of this really for me comes from the Miami Dolphins. They had a lot of players that are really good. But in my soul, I think I don't think Tua has it, A. I don't think Tyreek will do as well without Showtime Mahomes as his quarterback. I don't think Chase Edmonds will do as well in the AFC East as a running back. I think a lot of their pieces are good within the systems that they had that they've now incorporated. And I don't super love the coaching staff and everything they have going in Miami. So I also think they're very overrated in terms of what's going on in the AFC East. So that's why I bundled both of them up in terms of people that have high expectations that I don't think will meet them. Does that necessarily mean I think they're going to be bad? No, but this is about who is not going to meet expectations. I'm going to pick the Dolphins and the Bills on that one. I don't know how you guys feel about that. You guys can voice your opinions.
I completely disagree. Oh, no, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Cox. I don't totally agree on the Bills. I think they're still going to be fine, but losing their OC is a bigger hit than I think they realize. I think Dayball was instrumental for making Josh Allen who he is. If he went to the Jets, I think he'd be out of the league at this point, or a backup, honestly. And then as far as the Dolphins are concerned, their offensive line is. I mean, I know they signed Armstead, who's he's phenomenal, but the rest of that O line is, poof. Good luck to him. Go ahead, Cox.
Yeah, I completely disagree on the Bills. I still think the Bills are a Super Bowl contender as it stands right now.
Oh, I agree. I'm just saying I agree with DT's point that
No,
there might be a step back.
Yeah, no,
I also think they could compete for a Super Bowl. I'm talking about the pundits who already have them there.
Yeah,
I think
no.
I think that they could, especially if that AFC East, if everybody plays their potential, they might vulture themselves, and it might be a lot more difficult than people think.
See, here's the thing. Like with the way the AFC East, just the way I see it breaking down, it's Buffalo and then everybody else,
Yeah.
and it's not even close. I don't think Miami touches Buffalo at all. I don't think anyone in that division touches Buffalo at all. Um, I, I would almost dare to say that you could pretty much chalk Buffalo up to like a 5-1 record in that division. Easy.
Okay. So
Uh,
you're with the pundits. That's fine.
yeah, kind of. I kind of am with just with the
And that's fine. Like that, it makes sense for reasons, but I'm the one who's gonna, I wanted to say something.
Miami, no, Miami, I completely, because the other one I was mulling between was Tua. So I'm
Yeah.
glad you brought up Miami because I 100% agree with Miami. You know, I just don't think Tua is gonna work.
Yeah.
I just don't see that working. And with the new, with the new coaching staff, and Tyreek is definitely not going to be. I mean, unless you're really, really relying on, Tyreek to just do yards after catch. That's what you're relying on is how much yak can he get. Um, but yeah, no, I don't see Miami being this all powerful team. That people should be like, oh, now they're here. I don't really think they are. Um, and that's why I mean that's why, as we talked about, I could see the Jets beating them out for the 2 seed in that division. I really
Right.
could.
Yeah.
But
I would personally love that.
Yeah.
I would also love that.
Yeah, no, and I don't want to. I don't. The way I wanted to frame that is, I don't think that the Bills are going to be bad. I just think the expectation is so high
That's fair.
that like it's not like I think I'm gonna make them my call to fall short because like everybody's again thinking them of Cleveland, and Cleveland fell way short. I don't think Buffalo falls as short as Cleveland did with those expectations. But like everybody already has them representing the AFC. And it's like they forget that the entire AFC West A got better and B is full of unbelievable talent.
Yeah, I think DT's point is
My like preseason take is the AFC East, the AFC West winner is gonna win the fucking AFC.
yeah.
And it's not insane to think, but
No, that's not an insane thing.
to get through that gauntlet. So yeah, whoever gets to that gauntlet,
they'll be more battle. They'll be
go to the Super Bowl.
yeah, they're more battle hardened than the Bills will be or
It's no
anybody
different
else.
than what the
So
Rams were last year.
100%.
Yeah.
See, you get it. So that's all I'm saying is everybody already has the Bills in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna be a lot harder for them than people are saying.
I think DT's point, and correct me if I'm wrong, D.
You're fucking wrong. No,
I think your point was that like you said, everybody's expecting them to do all these things.
everybody's already crowned them.
I think it's very possible they take not a big step. They're not gonna go and win 4 games, but
No.
they might take a slight step back.
Yeah, because they really
offseason.
exceeded expectations and a lot of funky shit happened.
Yeah.
They're still gonna win that division. I would still put money on them
Yes,
winning the
yes.
division.
Oh yeah, for sure. I would too. I fucking hate the Bills, but I would put money on that for sure.
I would say like a disastrous season for them is like being like
9 wins.
yeah, that would be a catastrophe.
10-7, I think would be a disaster.
10-7, still win the division, but they'd be like the 4.
They like limp in. Yeah.
Like that would be like their.
Yeah. No, but that's all I was trying to say is people were
Yeah,
crowning them.
yeah.
I don't think we're there yet. They're already giving them Chiefs Kingdom vibes when the Chiefs went to way more Super Bowls than the Bills did in the last 5 years.
I wouldn't sit here and say that they're a lock for the Super Bowl, but I would put them as like a lock for the AFC title game.
I don't know about a lock. I'd give them like an 80% AFC.
I don't know. That AFC is fucking wild.
If I were to pick an AFC title game right now, it would be Bills and like someone from the AFC West. Like that's who
I would love. Holy fuck! It's not. I don't think it's gonna happen. But if it happens, Bills Chargers, Herbert Allen. Let's fucking go.
That would be fun.
That would be a blast.
That would be a good watch.
I'm just saying this now in the preseason wrap up, so it's on film for if it happens later. I just wanted to get that out in the world. Any final thoughts, boys? We're on hour 24, so I want to.
All right.
I'm good. I'm good.
I'm just happy to be back, boys.
Yeah, it's lovely to see y'all again. It's lovely to see you all again. It's lovely to talk football. I hope you all listening. Love seeing us again or talking with us, or if it's your first time, thank you so much for listening. If you're on YouTube, give us a like. If you're seeing it on Spotify or any other places that we have this audio podcast, please be sure to rate it. Give us a thumbs up. We'd love to hear from you. We're going to keep going with this stuff as the season goes on. It's going to be lovely. We might change the format a little bit, might do more frequent but shorter installments for you. News, updates, predictions, all that other kind of stuff. But we love you all so, so dearly, and we're glad to be back. We hope you stick with us for this season, and I hope your team wins, unless they're playing our team, because we are behind enemy lines. We'll catch you next time. Say bye, boys.
Bye.
Bye.